Three stigmas that HR has about for-profit workers, nonprofit workers, and government workers that nobody ever talks about. My name is JT O'Donnell. I'm a 20-year career coaching veteran who used to work in the staffing and recruiting industry. And now I help job seekers every single month get new, better paying jobs by teaching them what's happening on the other side, right? I give you the opponent's playbook. And one of the things we talk a lot about with my clients is whatever stigma is attached to where you're coming from if you're trying to make a shift. So let me explain what I mean. It's going to take me more than 30 seconds, though. So if you don't have time, bookmark it and come back because you will want to understand this. Now, if you're in the nonprofit sector, meaning you work for companies that always have to, only make what they spend, right? They can't profit. That's a real feel good industry to be in. It's also a very scrappy industry to be in, meaning they don't have the latest technology. They don't have all the resources. They're constantly short staffed. And so people that want to get into nonprofit, the people recruiting for them are also often very hesitant of corporate workers, right? For-profit workers, because those people have had all the luxuries of working in a business that can give them all those resources. I've talked to a lot of nonprofit CEOs who will say, yeah, somebody was well-intentioned. They said they wanted to leave the corporate world. They lasted 5 months here and couldn't take it. The pay was too low for them. They had to work with outdated resources and they just couldn't handle it. It's hard. So nonprofit workers will look at that and say, for-profit workers are probably not for us because they haven't dealt what we've dealt with. All right. That's number one. On the for-profit side, and I talked about this last week on a TikTok that went super viral about the whole government situation, the government buyouts. The for-profit world struggles with government workers because they're associated with like laziness and don't shoot the messenger. I'm just saying, don't have to work very hard, punch a clock, not innovative, right? Because you've got this guaranteed job and pension and benefits. And so they for-profit sees the government workers as not having hustle. And that's what they want in the private sector. They want you to have a lot of hustle. They also worry about the nonprofit workers in the sense that, when they're telling them you have to do something, a lot of nonprofit workers come from a very idealistic sense. Like they want their work to have a lot of meaning. Well, in the for-profit world, a lot of the jobs don't have that deeper meaning, that do good, feel good meaning. And so nonprofit workers could get in there and while they might make more money, end up leaving because they don't like they call it the corporate greed factor. So there's that stigma going on there. And then that leads to government workers. When you talk to people who are recruiting for the government, they don't necessarily want like the maverick from the corporate world, the hustler from the corporate world, because they're going to come in and try to disrupt things and they can't. Things are what they are in the government. You follow the rules, you do what you're told. There isn't going to be as much innovation. And so those for-profit people coming in are going to be like a fly in the ointment. They're not going to be able to get along with everybody and do everything at the slower pace, and within the constraints of what is required there. So you can see how these three, for-profit, nonprofit, and government workers, there are stigmas with all three. And that's why it can be really hard to change from one to the other, because you're bringing that with you. Even if it's not you, you're bringing that persona with you after many years of HR recruiting in these different areas. And so I'd love to hear in your comments below what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Again, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you, this is how they think. Hiring is discrimination. Let me just say that for a second. We work very hard to, make certain forms of discrimination illegal, but the very act of hiring is choosing one person over another. That is discrimination. That is the definition of discrimination. And so over many years, people in the hiring and recruiting space formulate these ideas, these personas, these stigmas as a way to more quickly judge people and narrow down the candidacies. And when you're in a really super competitive market like this one, where they have their choice of candidates, you better believe the discrimination is running wild. When you've got 1,000 candidates, you've got to narrow it down to 5 for interviews. And so you just need to know what you're up against out there when you're looking for work, especially if you're trying to change sectors. This is really a challenge. And so the answer is for you to learn your UVA, your unique value add, understand your personal brand, and then work on your messaging so that you can say to them, hey, don't attach me to that stigma. This is who I am, and this is why I'm a match for you. And those are really important techniques to learn right now. Otherwise, your job search can take a lot longer. But again, I'm interested to see what you think of the comments below. Thanks, everyone. Good luck. Go get them.